Okay, so it's 1 o'clock, it's 1:01, so I'm actually going to say it was the countdown. I'm going to give you this one. We can all give her a round of applause for the win. So 4 people. We didn't actually get the 5th person to help us plug this in. Let me just get back to this. Okay, my screen is like super small now, so bear with me. Okay, here we go. You guys can see it, yeah? Yeah? Okay, welcome.
Hooray!
I feel weird sitting down. Is this weird? I'm so short, I don't know. Maybe stand, sit, stand. I'm just gonna, okay, sit, okay, I'm sitting. Well, welcome. This is Video Gaming Together, Strengthening Bonds Through Shared Adventures. Not a misleading title, right? No, yes, a little bit. But basically, we're gonna go over the realm of gaming with your kids or with your nieces and nephews or whatever children you have about, I don't know, other situations. Neighbor kids? Is that a thing? Is that awkward? Is that weird? Maybe? No? Okay. I'm gonna watch out for you, but okay. So yeah, we're just gonna go over in this panel a little bit about us, our experience, where we come from. We're gonna go over the age. Does age matter when it comes to gaming, from young to old? Time, how much time you put into a video game, why it's important to game with your kids, which is what, like the big one, right? A kid's perspective. This is Ethan.
What's up, y'all?
Ethan is in 6th grade, so he thinks he's really cool, and he's going to give us his perspective as well. We're going to talk about digital etiquette, fake worlds versus real emotion. We're going to talk about the popular games out right now and how to navigate them. I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but we'll kind of touch on it. And then how to choose your console with your kids and some Q&A. So before we start, before we get into who we are, raise of hands, who here actually has kids? Okay, and then I'm guessing some are planning for future or have nieces and nephews or something like that, yeah? And then how many here already game with their kids? That's a good sign. Okay, so as I talk about some of these things, if you guys are all like, we know this already, move on, just tell me. Feel free to interrupt me. If you have questions, I would love for you to interrupt me. If you have questions for Ethan, feel free to interrupt him. Yeah, so we're up here to help grow your knowledge and experience with gaming within the realm of a family game atmosphere. So this works. Okay, about us. Oh no. All right, so I'm Spidey Mom, and this is Spidey Kid from social media. I don't know if anybody of you have heard of us before, but that is what we are known as. And then I'll just give a little brief about myself. I work as a director of marketing for an international company right now, but I've come from the media world. I worked in TV and movies for a long time and then moved over into the photography world where I did a lot of celebrity photography. And then went into the marketing realm of that for like billboards and go-to-market stuff. And so now I am the director of marketing. So yes, I'm around media all the time, content, visual, very, very visual. Have actually no experience in the gaming world, but I have a lot of friends that are developers and work for like some larger studios. And your turn.
I'm Spidey Kid. I'm famous.
Oh my gosh.
That's all you need to know.
Okay, age, grade, something else more
I'm
interesting.
11. I'm in 6th grade.
Why are you talking with that weird voice?
I don't know.
All right, keep going. 6th grade. What else? Hobbies? What do you like?
I love gaming. I like Pokemon. I mean, we all love gaming. That's why we're at MAGFest, right?
Oh boy. All right, let's just jump in then. No questions about who we are, right? Okay, I mean, I feel like this explains enough, just listening to him. Okay, all right, so, age matters when gaming. These are the 3 questions that people always ask. How young is too young? How does this affect the developing brain? aren't video games addictive? I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard this, right? The stigma of video games are bad. You shouldn't be gaming, you know, you shouldn't let your kids have all this screen time, so on and so forth. Ooh, he is out of here quickly. I must have really said something. I promise I won't shame anyone who has to leave. I really don't mind if you have to. I should move on. All right. How young is too young? I don't think my son realizes that I popped a bunch of his pictures into the slides. Aren't you adorable? Don't worry, none of your friends are watching, except for one, but no one else. All right, age matters. You've heard that a lot. They say, you know, experts say don't start video games until they're at least 6 years old. That's the wide opinion, is 6 years old. But as you see in these pictures, we do not really follow that because he has been gaming since he was like 6 months old. Put a controller in his hand, and he has been playing Halo alongside me since I think at least...
With the controller off, but...
No, the controller on. You
Really?
would press the jump button.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
do the rest. I think you weren't even a year old yet at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I died a lot, mind you. But age matters to an extent. So I'm going to say it now. You cannot be too young to play a video game, nor too old. But you cannot be too young to play a video game. I think what matters more is knowing your child. And we're going to talk a lot about that. Knowing what their limits are, their personality is, knowing how they handle those situations. Like if they are prone to anger outbursts and they throw a lot of temper tantrums, maybe 2-year-old gaming is not really for them yet because they're going to be put in situations that are strenuous on the developing brain, which we'll also get into. So how young is too young? There is no age limit to gaming. Don't be crazy. Don't be those people, please. Okay, how does it affect the developing brain? This is the argument that people have for that too young is too young. However, there has been a lot of studies, and you guys, I didn't source them here, but you can take a look, just Google it. There's a ton of studies that have come out in the past 5 years, especially since the quarantine happened with COVID, that actually show that playing video games can improve a lot of functions in a child's developing brain. The thing is, we live in a digital world now, and digital stuff is everywhere, from a phone to a TV to even just toys, right? With the digital screens on the toys. You have the little books and the story time toys that they have. The fact is, it's everywhere, and so their brain is already learning how to develop through digital media. So, does it have a negative effect on a child's brain? Not always. Can it? Absolutely. There's always a reason for a child to have a negative impact when it comes to media, but I would say then you have to watch out for TV shows. You have to watch out for your phone and phone time. So there's I think it was Harvard Medical put out a study on the developing brain for a child. They did this over the past 3 years, and they studied the intellect coming from kids who gamed regularly. And I'm talking about, like, you know, I think they did 2 hours a day for 5 days a week versus someone who had zero contact with video games. And the problem-solving skills from these kids who had played video games was unmatched. It was kind of crazy, actually. We got some music going on. You hear that? Yeah, I like it. Hey, I'm down for this. Let's go. Okay, so then the next argument that we get, right, is aren't video games addictive? You can see by my little picture here, yes. Yes. I mean, really anything can be addictive, right? We have phones can be addictive, TV can be addictive, a lot of other things that I won't go over here can be addictive since we have younger ears. The fact is that our brains can get addicted to things very easily, especially if it's a repetitive thing that we're doing. So yeah, they can be addictive, but do you have to let them be addictive to your kids? No. Is there a way to balance that? Yes. Are you addicted to video games?
Not really.
Are you sure?
I mean, I am a little bit.
I guess it depends on the game.
Yeah, depends on the game.
All right, and I'm just getting through these kind of quickly because I really want to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions in more detail about these topics, and I get to kind of know where you guys stand and what you need from us. So if you, once again, have questions while I'm going through this, feel free to just stop me, and I can elaborate more on stuff. Look how adorable you are, these ones. Oh, this could be the whole panel, guys. All right, so time matters when gaming. Every activity needs moderation, right? So the fact is, people are right when they say that your kids shouldn't have that much screen time. Yeah, I actually agree with that. There has to be moderation when it comes to any screen time, any activity in general. If a child is playing baseball for 8 hours a day, that's also not healthy, right? They need to have other interaction with kids. They need to have other things that their brain is working through, whether it be a math problem, let's say, or fill in the blank, right? So video games need moderation. A lot of times, the younger they are, they need more moderation than when they're a little bit older, but it depends on the child. So what we did is we did bursts. We would do 30-minute bursts at first where we would say, okay, we're going to play 2 levels of Mario, and that usually equates to 30 minutes. Then we're going to do something else, and then we're going to come back, and we could play again in another time. But the fact is your brain does need a break from anything you do. Your brain needs a break. With video gaming itself, because your brain is working so hard to troubleshoot and figure things out and do 2 things at once, it's super, super important that you give a child more breaks than not when it comes to gaming. Now, I know it's really easy to grab your iPad and throw it to them and say, hey, play this for an hour while I do, I would say cleaning the house, but come on, we don't clean the house. That's not what we do when we have that free time. We sit on the couch and we scroll through Facebook. Either way, okay, yeah, I know it's easy. They definitely need to have some breaks, so give them some breaks. For instance, right, okay, these pictures show my child does like TV and the phone from a young age, but he also plays baseball. And he does activities outside of the house. And he has friends in the neighborhood that he plays with. Maybe he goes into, like we live where there's woods in the back. He'll go and play in the woods. Whatever the case is, he's doing more than one thing a day, right? If you ask a child, what did you do today? And their only answer is they played video games, you probably didn't give them enough moderation when it comes to video games. Probably. Sometimes they just really love video games and they say that, and they embarrass you in front of all your friends. Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened.
Okay, so then the big question, right? Why is it important to game with your kids? And we're about to hear from Ethan. He's going to tell us all about that. But I did want to pull out 4 really important topics for why it's important to game with your kids. The top one is quality time, right? You cannot expect a kid to just be interested in the things you're interested in and do the things that you want to do. And that means watching you play video games. Do you all play video games in here? Is there anyone who doesn't? No? You laugh, but last time we ran this at MAGFest a few years ago, I think half the people raised their hands, and I was like, oh, this is a different crowd. Not what I was expecting. So having your kid watch you play a video game is not the same thing as quality time. Yeah, they might like it, but it's not the same thing. Your attention is only on the game. You could try to break your attention away, but the fact is it's not. Like, your attention is on one thing. When I play Baldur's Gate 3 with Daddy, are we paying attention to you?
Not at all.
Even when I'm like, come join us and watch the story, do you feel like we're having quality time together?
Nope.
Ouch. Okay, well, don't worry, I finished the story, so I won't play as much. Less than 100 hours for the second playthrough, I'm sure. Leading by example. When you play with your kids, you show them how to react to things. You show them the right and the wrong. You show them not to throw the controller across the room. Rage quitters out there. I know you're sitting out here, and I'm not going to make you raise your hand. The next one is getting in their world. There is nothing more important than getting in your child's world. How are you going to know about your child and what they like and what they're going to do as they grow up unless you know them, right? You can't expect them just to know you. You have to know them. This is a phenomenal way to get in their world. If they already enjoy gaming to some extent, this is a really, really good quality time way to do it. And then, of course, showing you care. Right? When you get on the floor and you play blocks with your kids, or you play that stupid keepy-uppy game that Bluey has now ruined all of our lives with. You definitely are showing that you care, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because someone watches Bluey and makes me play keepy-uppy. So I know you're too cool because you're in 6th grade.
Liar.
Kids spell love T-I-M-E. I am sure you've heard this, but it's 100% true. It has been proven time and time again. Spending time with your kids shows them that you love them. Way more than buying them things, way more than providing the things that you know that they need, which I'm like, listen, I bought you this amazing bike. Like, I know you need it, and I love you because of it. It's time. It's the time that you spend with them. That is the most impactful thing. If you think back on your childhood, some of you are a little bit younger than me, but think back to your childhood. What are some of the most memorable times that you spent with your parents? With your mom or with your dad or whoever raised you? Was it the times that they actually did stuff with you? That they spent the time with you, right? I would say like 98% chance that that's the case. I know there's someone out here thinking, nah, it was when they bought me that Furby. I don't know. Is that too old for you guys now? Furby? Yeah? Oh boy. I need to move on before I show my age. All right, so enough about me. I talked a lot, but we're going to get our kid perspective from Ethan. So Ethan, tell us how us gaming with you, right? Because both mom and dad game with you. How did that impact your life? How does it make you feel? Tell us all about it.
I mean, it makes me feel loved and how you care about me and like you show that it means a lot or that you really do love me. And so
I do love you. Okay. All right.
it just brings me in a whole new level of fun though as well. Like playing a video game by yourself gets pretty boring after a while. But when someone's playing with you, it's like you don't want to stop because it just makes it a whole new level of fun. And yeah.
So what about, so you're saying like when you game with someone it's more fun, but that could be a friend, right? That's awesome. I'm sorry, I'm watching amazing cosplays walk in. This is incredible. Love it. 2 thumbs up. So what is the difference between when you game with like your friend Austin versus gaming with dad?
I mean, dad really like shows me how to do it versus Austin just plays with me.
Okay.
It's different.
Now what about when you and I play a game together? Because we have our games that he's not allowed to play without me.
I mean, it makes it more fun because when I'm playing with you, I get more time to play because you just don't want to stop.
Wow, that was not the answer I was looking for, but I'm going to go with it. Okay, that's a different kind of time. All right, what else? Who wants to hear something else? Questions coming from him? Yeah, I'm putting you all on the spot just like I put him on the spot. Nothing. Okay, we got something.
What kind of games do you play together?
Like Mario, like Mario Wonder.
Well, that's a good one.
That was fun. Like platformers, puzzle games.
What about the 2 Xbox one? Halo.
Oh, Halo. Halo.
Come on, how many moms get 2 Xboxes and 2 TVs in the living room just to play Halo with their kid?
I mean, yeah.
Kudos. You can clap. It's okay. Yeah, okay. I need some recognition here. Any other questions before we move on for him?
Yeah, this might make you think, but have any lessons you've learned from gaming, have you taken those and applied those to other aspects of your life or your growth or school?
Never rage quit. It ends a lot worse when you do that.
In life too?
Yeah. In like school, you just get mad at something, just let it go. Don't rage quit.
That's pretty good. That's a good question. We're going to cover another part of that question in a little bit. Who else? Anybody else have question? Wayne.
Have you encountered any toxicity? And if you have, how do you really kind of deal with that?
Ooh, that's good.
Well, if I do, it's mainly because like it's on like a chat or something, and usually I would try to, if I see that, I try to just block it, like turn it off, and just don't look at it. And then if it's something like I can't do that, I usually just stop and take a break from it, from the game for a little bit.
That's good.
You ever feel like there are games that you want to play that your mom says no?
Yes, a lot.
We're gonna get there.
I begged my mom. She still says no.
Come on, there's gotta be more. Not just me. There's reasons
there's
behind
just
it.
you.
But do I give you reasons?
I mean, yeah, there's usually something bad about the game that I'm not old enough yet.
Thank you. Your mom is great.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
What else? Anything else? Core.
What games are you anticipating in the next few months that we might know about?
That's a hard one because we just had a bunch of good releases.
None. Honestly, I have all the games I've been wanting for it to come out yet.
Well, that's good for my pocket. I like that. I'm going to keep you to that. I saw one over here. Did anybody else?
I don't know. This is probably a question for Mom. How do you make it so that when your kid does go into those online spaces and find something that bothers them or like they don't know what to do with, how do you make it so that they will come to you and then say, hey, I saw this thing that bothered me. Can we talk about it together instead of being like, because when I was growing up, I kind of just repressed that and I was like, oh, that wasn't very nice. And then it would just bother me and then I wouldn't talk about it to anyone.
Yeah.
How do you open up that connection with your child?
That's a really, really good question. We will talk a little bit more about that later, but let me give you the answer. It happens outside of video games. I mean, that's a parenting thing. That is something that, like, every day I make sure that we have meaningful conversations together so that he knows that it's okay to talk about that stuff with me. When situations arise and I do find out about it, I make sure that I explain everything about it, right? I don't just say, oh, well, you can't say that word because it's wrong and it's not okay to say. I explain why. What does it make the other person feel? Why do we not say it? And I also make sure that whatever we do is the same standard for him. So if we tell him that, like, looking at that one thing online is not okay, we don't just say because we say so or because you're too young. We explain why and why we don't, which is really hard when it comes to gaming because there's a lot of games I really want to play that is inappropriate content that I don't let him play, and so I don't play. And that's really, really hard. Like, there's a lot of games out there, and I love heavy RPGs. A lot of those have, like, a lot of curse words in it, a lot of inappropriate body parts in it, you know? Just like, you know. And I really, really want to play it. And I don't. Because the fact is, if I'm saying it's bad for our overall human person, then I need to hold myself to that same standard. Yeah. Does that answer your question a little bit? Awesome. Yes, in the very far back.
Going back to my last question with toxicity, have you had any issues with your classmates or something like that playing online games and then maybe having an issue with the game and then taking it to the real world or something like that? Like any issues with classmates or something?
I mean, not really, but like sometimes they get mad at the game and like the next day at school or something, like they talk about it, how they were mad at the game, but nothing like bad.
There's a reason for that because, and I'll explain this a little bit later, we'll probably push on so we can save our questions to the end, but I don't allow that kind of gaming with him. So he's not playing with his friends all the time online. He's playing in certain games, and most of it's on the Switch where you don't actually chat, or it's on your phone chat because Nintendo has the chat app. But I don't let him openly play games with other kids in a chat way form so that that anger cannot be brought over to school situation. Now, I'm not saying that I don't let him play with his friends, but I will be the first one to invite the kid over. You want to play a game? I have 2 Xboxes. You want to play Halo together? Come on over. Let's play together. I'm very, very pointed when it comes to that. Now, he is in 6th grade now, and so things change when you get a little bit older, right? But we also, whenever we do chats, they're open chats. We can hear it. It's not in a headphone, like headset. If it bothers me, then it bothers me. Who cares? I'd rather hear and help him through situations than just have it all condensed into one little space, I guess. All right, let's move on, and then these are great questions, so definitely if you think of more, either stop me if it pertains to this or hang on to the very end. Okay, this is huge. We live in a digital world, and these pictures are adorable. Come on, they're adorable. That top one with him in his little Spidey suit, that was online school during COVID, and he wore that while he was schooling. It was so cute. See what I put there? It's adorable. He's never gonna run a panel with me again, are you? Yeah. But the fact is, like, right? Kids FaceTime, right? We're constantly on digital platforms. I will never forget the first time that he walked into a Best Buy. You had to have been like 2 or 3 years old, I don't remember. But he walked into a Best Buy and he walked up to a giant screen display that had some kind of advertisement and he goes to touch it. I was like, what are you doing? Don't touch the TV. He thought it was like a touchscreen. And my mind was blown. I was like, what generation is this? Like, what? It's crazy. I remember black and white TVs. So like, that's nuts. But the fact is, you're not getting away from it. Your kids are going to grow up with this. They're going to grow up with every kind of digital device. They're going to know how to use an iPad. They're going to know how to use a phone, probably from birth. Like, honestly, you give a 6-month-old a phone, and it's kind of crazy that they know that they should touch it. Like that's crazy. You give a 1-year-old a phone, and they can probably navigate it better than some of you. So, I mean, me too, me included. But the fact is we're in a digital world, right? We cannot censor our kids from video games, nor should we, because it's going to be everywhere. If you don't let your kids play at home, where are they going to play? At school during their classes, because how many textbooks do you have?
0.
What do you have instead?
A Chromebook.
And yeah, in our school district, every single kid has their own Chromebook from kindergarten. They have a Chromebook.
From 4th grade.
Kindergarten now.
Oh, what?
Yeah, because Apple got rid of their educational iPad system, so yeah. I mean, before then it was iPad when they were younger, but yeah, it's everywhere. They're gonna game at school. They're gonna game when they go over to their friends' houses. If that's what their friends are into, then they don't experience at home, they're gonna wanna experience it elsewhere. Wouldn't you much rather know what's going on at your own home? Like, let them play around you, with you, be involved in it, right? It's not going away. I keep thinking someone's gonna tell me like it's time's up, but I'm watching. This is a great point right here. This is called digital etiquette, okay? When I was young, and I'm looking at a lot of your faces thinking, you guys are not as old as me, some of you. When I was young, we had something called playground etiquette. Do you guys know this? Right? Mom and Dad said, this is what you do at a playground. You let someone else, take a turn on the swing. You take you wait in line on the slide. You don't push anybody. You share a ball if they have one. You fill in the blank. That is called playground etiquette. If someone's being bullied, if someone's doing something wrong, you go and tell a parent. You fill in the blank. Okay, so that's playground etiquette. Now, we have digital etiquette that we have to teach our kids, right? They naturally will think about playground etiquette in a digital format. And this is where chat comes in, right? So now you're gonna have to teach your kids not to rage quit, not to smack talk strangers, because, okay, some smack talk, right? I mean, my family is very competitive and there's a lot of smack talk that happens, but how do you balance it? You have to teach them to read emotion through voice, right? Because you're not going to be face-to-face in most of these situations. Read emotion through your voice, where if you are nagging somebody on and you could hear that they're getting frustrated, you need to stop. That's digital etiquette. Inviting someone to join a team that they don't really know how to play the game, or they're not very good. That's digital etiquette. These things are things that you have to parent. You have to teach your kid. And one of the best ways to teach your kid how to do this is by doing it yourself. So watch what you say when you're on your own headset, right? When your friends are over, when you're gaming with your child and they're just jumping off the platform, ruining all of your lives that you saved up in Mario. Don't get mad at them. Don't say, hey, why don't you just turn that off for just a second, let me beat the level, right? The way that you handle yourself is one of the best ways to teach your kids digital etiquette. Does this all make sense? And if somebody does not agree with me, please tell me. So I would love to hear your perspectives. Yeah, pretty good, making sense still? All right, fake world, real emotion. This is one of my favorite stories. I don't know, who's played Spider-Man 2? Are you kidding me right now? Go home, buy a PS5, and play this game. It's amazing. Okay, who's played the first Spider-Man? Wow, okay, a few more. Really? Come on, guys, you're killing me. This is MAGFest. Everybody should play. All right, so Spider-Man is one of our favorite games. Obviously, we're Spidey mom and Spidey kid. Love the game, love the franchise, love the movies, everything about Spider-Man. But in the first game, those who played it, did you beat it? No. Okay. I might spoil something. Does anybody not want spoilers for Spider-Man? Okay. Good? Okay. So, first off, these pictures are one of my favorite pictures. That is the voice actor for Spider-Man and the voice actor for Miles Morales. They're actually really close friends of ours, and we all got together last year, and it was a mess of adorableness. I'm sorry, handsomeness. Handsome? Is that a thing now? Handsome? I always say the wrong thing.
Just stop. Just stop.
Okay, well, you're adorable.
Just move on.
Okay, moving on. So in the first Spider-Man game, there's a point in the story. Now, when it first came out, I should preference this, he was young, I think 5?
6.
5 or 6. I didn't let him play the story. I let him watch the gameplay. I let him play all the missions, like the side missions, and swing through the city. But I didn't let him play because it did have a more mature rating, and I wanted to play it first to make sure it was okay for him. There is a point in the story where a beloved character, it's kind of non-spoiler, dies. And it is a choice that they die. It was something that Spider-Man had to choose, and he chose to let this person die. And I will never forget looking over at his face, and it was tears, just like heartbreaking tears. And he's like, I don't understand why. And like, I get emotional just thinking about it because it was such like a pivotal moment in a child's life when they realize that death is real. And like, that's a real topic. That's a real emotion that came out of something that's fake. I mean, Spider-Man's not real, right? Okay, good.
I hope so.
Good. I'm just making sure that I parented well enough for that. Spider-Man is not real. The game is not real. He knows that. But death is real. And he didn't understand why Spider-Man would choose one thing over another. And I got the opportunity at that moment to stop the game. I paused the game. And I explained to him the greater good sacrifice. We all know it, right? Especially if you're a Star Trek fan. What is the greater good, right? And that's what Spider-Man chose. And that, yes, people die, and it happens. And sometimes it's really sad and unfair, but it's part of the cycle of life. And I got to sit there and explain life and death to him. And when else am I going to do that? When a family member has passed away? And that's even harder, because that's real life, right? But man, you could take every opportunity in these games to really teach your kid life lessons. Like we're talking about, you asked the question, what lessons have you brought into the real world? This was a huge one. And I'm sure it didn't even matter that much to him. I'm sure you don't even really understand. But like the following months were conversations that me and my husband had about the cycle of life. And like all different analogies, and he understood when my grandmother passed away and he, had been with her and known her and like had a relationship with her. He could equate that to a reality. So there are many, many, many real emotions that can be brought up through video games. Sometimes that's really bad too because there's a lot of anger that comes up in those games. But you take those opportunities to explain the good and the bad, right? And that is how you can bring real lessons from fake video games into the real world. I love that you asked that question because it's one of my favorite stories. And I didn't bawl. I always do. I didn't bawl this time. Okay, so popular games and how you navigate them. These are some of the most popular games coming out of last year. Now, after I made the slide, I got the actual list. And I'm not going to pull it up because there's a lot of games. But they actually do come out with a list every year of like the most popular games. These are just some of them. We have Zelda. We have Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Spider-Man 2, Baldur's Gate, Diablo, which is a little bit older but still prevalent with people playing it. Fortnite, of course, is an ongoing one that people are playing. Hogwarts Legacy, Modern Warfare 3. So I'm just putting these as the top ones that are going around, and you see a lot more on social media about them. Okay, so how do you pick the games? This is one of the trickiest questions because I cannot tell you what to pick. I can give you tons of suggestions. I can give you really safe suggestions. I can give you more pushing the boundary suggestions. But I cannot tell you what games your kids can play because I don't know your kids. And the fact is you have to know your child and what they can handle and what they can't handle. Ethan has been playing Halo since you saw him sitting on the couch. That picture of him sitting on the couch, he was playing Halo, right? He done the jump button for me. He's been playing Halo like all of his life. I would not tell some of our friends to play Halo, right? Because they can't control their anger. And situations like first-person shooters or PvP triggers them, and they don't know how to handle their emotion. It bottles up and it explodes. That's a personality type, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing, and it's not something you can't teach through, right? But why put your child in that situation if you know that it's going to bring them to that point? So maybe Halo isn't the best for a 4-year-old to play. All right, my 4-year-old, no issues with it. He was fine playing it. It was all aliens. It was all, Halo 1. We did a lot of Combat Evolved, He was fine with it. Some of his friends, we turned it off when they came over, right? Because you don't know the limit that they have. Safe games tend to come from Nintendo. Nintendo really was a family console, and they kept that for a really long time until they ported other games onto that console with first-person shooters. But all in all, a lot of the native games coming from Nintendo are very family-friendly, right? One of the best games for a kid that is between the age of 3 and 5 is Yoshi's Woolly World. Anybody ever played that? That's an older one. It came out on the Wii U. No, okay, yeah, I'm aging myself again.
I 100%ed that game with my uncle. That was so much fun.
So any of the Mario games really are usually great family games, especially because you could play 2-player. Mario Odyssey, who played that? Right? Did you guys play with your kids? Because you can be wait, what was it? Cappy. Because you can be Cappy, right? So anytime that there is a game with 2-player, it tends to be that there's an option for a safe player, a kid, to play, where it's not going to ruin your game and frustrate you, but it's going to allow them to be involved and play. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is one of the best examples of that. If you pick a Yoshi character, I believe, you can't die.
Or Nabbit.
You cannot die. That is a perfect character for your kids to play with you, right? So those are like very safe games. You're not going to get any kind of dialogue that's questionable or, I know everybody questions everything, but for the most part, right, you're going to be really safe. A game that is questionable might be Baldur's Gate 3, okay? Who in here plays Baldur's Gate 3? Thank you, I'm not alone. All right, Baldur's Gate 3 has some extremely mature content. Now you can turn that content off, which is the only reason that we play it. But it is probably not for your 3-year-old. Let's just be real here. Now, this is how I handle it for an 11-year-old who's in 6th grade who runs their D&D club at school. Of course he wants to play it, right? Do I let you play it alone?
No.
Do we play with you? Either mom or dad plays the other character with you.
Yeah.
And is it as much fun, not as much fun?
It's more fun.
Are you being serious? You real?
Not at all. It's not not as much fun at all.
So the fact is there's going to be games that your kids want to play alone. And I'm not going to let him play this one alone. Because there are just choices that you can make that lead to bad choices. And okay, I know, it's a video game, it's fake, and he should know that. He's only 11. And there are still situations he has not come face to face with, and he's just not ready for. And so the deal is, okay, yeah, absolutely you can play. You love D&D, you play it all the time, you play with your friends, you have a club at school. We're gonna play it with you. And that's okay, right? Because you still get to play. Other games like Fortnite. Fortnite's evolving. Guys, Fortnite is just like taking over the world with all like their Lego tracks and like their mini games. Yeah, okay, one person's excited. It's crazy, but Fortnite, right? Think back before all of the extra stuff that just popped on. It was like the game among kids. Like you play Fortnite or you're out. It has all the smack talk. It has all the rage quit. It has everything in it, right? In a good game. I never let him play because there were situations that like he was getting really heated. And I was like, all right, I think you need to back out and let's find a different game of the same kind that doesn't make you feel this way. Do I let you play it now?
Yeah, but I don't really want to.
Because it's lame. No, I'm just kidding. It's not lame. It's not lame, those who like Fortnite. I feel like I'm touching on something here. Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty. Who plays Call of Duty? Really? What is this crowd? Am I the only one? It is, okay. Have you played the new one? They fixed a lot. I would say the new one is much better. But, yes, there's a lot of, it turned into crap, right? Modern Warfare 3, like, the newer one that's come out is a little bit better. Anyway, okay, Modern Warfare 2 is where it's at. But I never let him play Call of Duty, but I let him play Halo. Because one is shooting people and one is shooting aliens. And when he was young, he couldn't fathom the idea of killing a person, but an alien he's never seen in real life. Until we went to conventions and saw people dressed up as aliens. But beside the point. So there are still choices to make when it comes to first-person shooters. Not all first-person shooter is the same. Not all platformer is the same. Not all RPG is the same. Spider-Man 2 versus Baldur's Gate 3, both are RPGs. One is acceptable to play on his own, one is not, right? When it comes to rating, yes, I see your hand, I want to stop.
So you said you wouldn't let him shoot, like, play a COD game. Is that because it uses realistic, like, enemies versus, like, something that maybe 10 or 20 years ago where it's very polygonal people, if that makes sense?
Yes, like 007, GoldenEye, right, like that, because I played the junk out of that game when I was like his age, right? Yes, that is the exact reason, because one is realistic and one is not. However, there is a step further to that, because some kids have no issues with that, and I don't think that playing a first-person shooter like Call of Duty causes someone to rage in the way that we're thinking, right? For him, he was much more in tune with empathy when he was younger. And the actual act of doing something mean to somebody, like we played good guys, bad guys, right? I don't know if you guys do that with your kids, but we wrestle. And he's the good guy and dad's the bad guy. If we called him a bad guy, he would lose his mind. Like he could not be the bad guy. Like he had to be the good guy, always fighting for good. So for him to shoot at a person would destroy him. Like we had a roommate live with us, and he watched him play when he was much younger, and he questioned all of it. And not in a good way, in a very emotional, but let's not shoot him, he's not looking at you kind of way. I mean, very analytical kid, okay? But so we found that that kind of game was much more of a negative response than, let's say, Halo, where there are, aliens with blue blood versus a human with red blood. So it does depend on the kid, but that's the reason behind this one. Oh, many more questions in the very back first.
So how do both of you deal, because you mentioned previously about how you won't let certain friends play certain games, and so how do both of you handle like your son's the sociability aspects of your friends wanting to play games that your family won't let you play, and then you handling games that your friends'
Does that make sense? Do you want to answer? You want me to answer first? That is a really good question. So our rule of thumb at our house, if somebody comes over and wants to play a game, is I go by rating and content and their age. And most of the time that means no, anything M. I definitely don't let them play, because I don't know all these kids' parents. He's very social, and random people come over all the time that I really don't know them. So a lot of like Nintendo games are very, very safe. I'm trying to think of what else. So if we do like a Spider-Man game, we do the open world. We don't do the story. And I'm always there. So they have to play in the living room TV, and I'm present in that room, doing things or working in the kitchen or whatever. I'm not trying to bug them, right? Do you feel like I'm bugging you?
A little bit.
Okay, but that's because I have to tell them that I'm really good at this game. I have to show them.
I mean, you're not that good, not as good as me. I mean, you have it.
These be fighting words. Okay.
I mean, you have 100% in Spider-Man.
Because I work a full-time job.
You haven't even beat Spider-Man.
Come on now. Come on now. Oh, okay. How do you handle when a friend wants to play a game that you know you're not allowed to play?
Well, I usually say, hey, I'm not allowed to play this game. How about we play a different game?
And what if they say, why not? This is an easy game that I'm allowed to play.
Then I usually go and ask you.
What if I'm not there?
Then I ask Dad.
What if Dad's not there? What if you're at the friend's house?
Then I say, well, let's just skip it for right now.
And what if they say, I don't want to skip it?
Well, I'm not allowed to play it.
Okay, well, I'm going to play it.
Okay.
What do you do?
I don't know.
I don't think he's run into this situation very often, because I'm picky with friends that he spends a lot of time with, too, because that impacts people's lives, right?
I mean, I often am at the neighborhood friend's house, so I can just run to the house and ask you.
Yeah, that's fair. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Who else you had one right there?
Yeah, so this might not be a problem right now, or I expect what the answer to be right now, but certainly when your son's a bit older, it might come up. Just how do we deal with teaching our kids about predatory practices that exist for microtransactions and gambling?
Oh, that definitely applies now. Yeah. So that's, she's talking about microtransactions, right? So like buying an outfit or the Halo stuff that you like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's asking like how do we handle that? That's a really good question, and you're right. He's getting to the age now where he gets gift cards. So like if he has like Microsoft money or something, we have taught him the value of money from an early age, and that kind of really matters a lot. Like we don't just buy whatever we want. He has his own bank account. He has his money that he earns when he dog walks, let's say, or does something for a neighbor or something. So he understands that this is his money, and when it's gone, it's gone. So if he wants to buy like the flaming head on his Halo game, it comes out of his pocket. Does he want it bad enough to do it? So it's not just, we don't never keep our credit card on file for him to openly be able to purchase things like that. For the Nintendo store, it's password protected, and we have to get into it for him. He has money that he accumulates on there, and he can choose the game he wants to play as long as they're approved, but we make sure that we teach him, like, if you buy this $10 thing, then you can't buy this Magic deck. That's not $10. That was a really bad example. What, those are like 30 to 60? Okay, so if you want this game, then you can't buy this Magic deck. How's that? So that he can understand the value of it. Did that answer your question?
Well, I'd also like to hear about the gambling piece.
Like spinning of wheels.
Oh, like that? Oh, yeah. No. From day one, we say no. When we're out, we say no. When we're here at MAGFest, we say no. If it's $1 to spin the wheel, we say no. And then my husband says yes. But he knows that the probability is not good. So we have taught him probability. We have taught him chances. We have taught him what else we could use that money for. Some of it is, do you guys watch speedrunning? So Games Done Quick is on right now. love Games Done Quick, AGDQ and SGDQ. We watch it the entire week. It's like a whole family event, which we're missing. Baldur's Gate 3 run at 4 o'clock. But they do donations for, right now it's to help prevent cancer, and in the summer they usually do it for Doctors Without Borders. These are really, really good things to donate to. You can donate a certain amount and then you can be entered into a drawing. And I know this doesn't, it's not exactly like a spinning wheel, but he's always like, it's just $5. Let's just do another donation because we might win this. And we have to teach him, like, okay, like, it's not bad to give to the cause. We always, like, we have some kids that we sponsor. We make sure that we're always giving back. But what matters is that because you want to give because you want this. And the fact is, you're probably not going to get it. And it's not even worth it. So let's think about this $5. Is this a charity that we want to give to? Or is there something nearby, like if we spend the $5 at Christmas, we buy gifts for kids. We live in Philly, so we'll do family gifts for people who can't afford them. So do we want to spend that $5 to buy a Pokemon toy to give somebody that has an impact right here and now? So it just depends. But we try to teach him probability is not good, right? You don't want to waste your money like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Dad gets
That's a
it
heavy
sometimes.
rule.
It is a heavy rule. Yeah, we just shut it down from the beginning. And we don't do it. I don't gamble. We don't gamble. We don't do the spinning wheel when we think we can do it. We do claw machines sometimes. Come on. I love claw machines.
It's just because they're fun.
Yeah, I waste a lot of money on claw machines. But, yes.
Just a quick question. How do you like when you talk to parents about how to parent your child during video games? How do you deal with the backlash of, oh, it's not a huge deal. He's like 8, he's almost a teenager. He can totally see X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But they're not ready.
That's a really, really good point. I hear that a lot, actually. Most of his friends' parents tend to be older than me. I am a little bit on the younger side to have an 11-year-old, and they don't get it, and they think that, oh, he's making his own choices, he's fine. And so I do get that a lot. The number one thing is we can't control other people, and I can't control a parent. And when I do try to explain something, if someone's not open to it, they're not going to listen, just plain and simple. But I show them how I do it and why I do it. So when they're like, well, you know, I had to take away his Switch because he didn't clean his room. Let's just use that as an example, okay? So then I go, oh, very interesting, you know, did he not clean his room because he was playing his Switch? Oh yeah, he didn't get off of it, he didn't, you know, we told him to clean it like for 3 days and he didn't, you know, get off of it and clean his room. So then I say, oh yeah, that's weird. You know, we have a rule in our house that works really well. If somebody's talking to him while he's on the Switch and he doesn't make eye contact with you, he loses his Switch. You know, if I ask him to stop and clean his room and he doesn't stop and clean his room, right then and there, it's done. Because the fact is that he doesn't know how to stop sometimes. And we have to teach him that.
It's rough.
People, hey. What do I always say? People are what? Important, not important? Come on. Cue it.
Are more important?
I always say people are more important than
Video games.
Thank you. I say it all the time.
Got one correct.
So I try to give examples of like how my child handles it better because I've parented through it. But the fact is, I get the backlash all the time, and the fact if somebody doesn't want to learn, they don't want to listen, they're not going to. And you can't really control that, unfortunately. But all of you come to a panel to listen and learn something, so good for you. You guys get a little clap this time. All right, I know, okay, we really actually don't have any time. Does anybody have questions about choosing the right console? Because I want to go to Q&A. I'm guessing all of you are pretty good. Okay, Q&As, because I know we've got some questions. Yeah.
So we have a 9 and a 12-year-old, and the 9-year-old's pretty good when it comes to knowing when to get off, but our 12-year-old, you know, will say, hey, okay, you get 5 more minutes, because that's, you know, we give them 2 hours a day to be on their iPad, electronics alone, like they play games that, like Splatoon is like their big thing.
Oh, Splatoon.
That's a fun
Good
game.
one.
And so we give them 2 hours to get to kind of have their electronics time. But the problem is by the time we're starting to get to that end, we're like, hey, it's time to get off. And we have a rule that if you go over, you then lose time for the next day.
Oh.
And
Okay.
so we've been trying to emulate kind of the whole, spending time with us and playing video games does not go into their own time of their 2 hours. So they could have 3 hours of time, but 1 hour could be with us. How do you manage your chores and time and screen time to reduce that in your household? And how have you navigated kind of the backlash? I think we're getting more backlash as they get older, and it doesn't help that our 12-year-old.
The attitude.
Our 12-year-old is in 8th grade, and so their friends are 14.
Yeah.
Who get way more content because they are past the age 13 content for YouTube and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's
just
good.
want to pick your brain on how you deal with the timing.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. We've gotten pretty lucky when it comes to timing for him because he actually is really good at getting off. But from day one, we've really pushed the fact that, when we say to do something, you do it or you lose it. So that is our big thing. But to balance the actual time, I like what you do with okay, what if you go over this time, then it cuts into the next time. But I do know that also backfires with teenagers. Yeah. So if we have to give a time limit, which we have, you have 1 hour until you need to go outside and play with your friends or whatever the case is, or do your chore or whatever, then we usually give 2 options. You could do your chore now before you start playing, and then if you get to an hour point and you're in a battle, you don't have to stop. You could finish the battle. So you could do it now, get it out of the way, and then you can enjoy your gaming time. Or when it hits this time and we give them the exact time, you have to pause the game, you have to hop off, and you have to do your chore. We always say if you are in a point in your game where you can't save it or you're trying to save it, you have to communicate that. So, I get it. If you're in a point in your game that you have to try to get to a save point or you lose it all, you're not on a Switch where you can't just pause it. I mean, that's kind of heartbreaking for an adult, so it's heartbreaking for kids. So we tell them, you can ask us, can I get to this saving point and stop? That's fine. But if you don't ask us that and you just say, 5 more minutes. No, not yet. Wait a second. Just 1 second. Or you don't answer at all, you're done. You're going to have the heartbreak and you're going to have to learn from that because all you had to do was take a moment to communicate it correctly. Communication through video games, I think, is key. I can't tell you the exact formulation for making sure that time is thing, but I think the older they get, the more reason they need to have. So we have to explain everything. Absolutely everything. If we say not to do something, why?
Oh, yeah.
There's always the why. So it's the same with video games. Okay, I'm giving you an hour, and then you have to do this. This is why. And this is why it's important, and this is how it's going to help you. If you have a job when you're older and you're out of school, well, guess what? If you don't do it, you're going to get fired.
But we had that analogy, and then it got into the whole, well, don't you get comp time, and...
Yeah, no.
It got real deep real quick, and our 12-year-old finally said, okay, well, I don't like this analogy anymore.
Hey, but that's good. You taught him something. Her something.
Yeah.
Him. Her.
They.
They. Okay, so you taught them something.
Yeah.
And yay. Good job, Mom. Good job.
I think it's we're at that point where it's oh my gosh, I feel like we're not getting nowhere, but I appreciate hearing this because this is literally the spot where we're at. It feels like we're keep hitting a brick wall, but
Yeah.
I feel like just gotta keep hitting it. And eventually
Honestly, that's what it is. It's consistency to show that you care and you care about them and their future. And it's not you're saying video games is bad, which is the key that we should all take away from, is that video games are good. They're not bad. It's how you handle yourself through them that matters. Right? I have lost our time. It's 2 o'clock, but I would love to answer more questions. I'm going to be back there. So if anybody has more questions, feel free to grab me. Oh, selfie? Yeah? I know half of you left during Q&A because we got boring, I guess. But wait. We got a little bit. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you guys follow us, Spidey Mom on TikTok and YouTube, Spidey_Mom on Instagram. Message me if you have questions that you didn't get to ask or you don't want to come talk to me, which is weird because I'm super approachable, probably. Yeah, hit me up. So thank you guys.